Speech and voice are really important in Their Eyes Are Watching God. Even from the way that just like the book is written, you can tell like it's really interesting the difference between the author's voice and Janie's voice in the story. And I believe that Zora Neale Hurston does this to like capture like the authentic like voice of the South and like the way that people speak and everything. So even the words are written irregularly and everything. So clearly, like speech and voice are really important in the novel, and really, it's a story of Janie finding her voice through her different marriages and like over the course of her life. And when the book starts, and at the very end, when she's coming back, and she's like finally she has her voice and she's telling her whole story to Phoebe to sort of like inspire her. She really kind of like knows who she is, and she's like found her voice, and she's able to like tell her story. And at the beginning, or I'm sorry, after that, earlier when she's with her grandma and she's younger and she doesn't really have a voice when she's with her. She kind of just goes with what she says, and she goes with it when she's forced to marry her first husband, Logan, even though she doesn't really love him, and he's really like the opposite of everything that she wants in a husband. He has wealth, like he has money, so financially her grandma's worried about her and wants her to have a man who can support her, so she goes with it and she gets married to him because that's sort of like what she had to do in the time period that she was in. But then like throughout the book, like her voice sort of comes out more like when she made the decision to leave him for Jody, and when she told him basically, she was honest and she said, you know, you really didn't do me any favors by marrying me, like even though I have all this money, like this isn't like I'm not able to be who I want to be. And she goes off with Jody, and that's sort of a moment where she has her voice. But then, of course, like that doesn't really work out. Their marriage sort of kind of falls apart because all of the pressure of being the mayor's wife, and the way people are sort of like judging her, and the way that she has to sort of be a certain way, and Jody doesn't really let her like express herself or speak or find her voice either in that marriage because she's supposed to be like high class because she's the mayor's wife, so she's supposed to be too good for all of the like she wants to just talk with the people when she's in the shop. She wants to talk and laugh about the mule and everything. And Jody doesn't let her do that. He always sends her to go do something else or has her cover her hair, and she can't really like be herself in that situation either. And really, she doesn't regain her voice back again until he gets sick and eventually dies, and then she inherits the money, and she's able to really do whatever she wants. And that's when she marries Tea Cake, and Tea Cake isn't really like he's not like the perfect husband. Like he does like beat her at one point, and he takes all her money and he spends it on this party and he doesn't invite her. But at the end of the day, like they really love each other, and he teaches her like how to do things, like how to drive and how to shoot and all sorts of things, and she really is able to communicate with him, and she speaks and finds her voice and everything, which is why it's really unfortunate when the hurricane happens and when he gets bit by the rabid dog and she has to shoot him. But she really, at that point, like she really sees that her life is for herself, and she really lives like for herself, and she realizes that she has to make the decision, between killing her husband and herself, and she prioritizes herself and she prioritizes her own life, and she realizes that it's what she has to do. So she kills him, and she really understands how to like be grounded like in herself. So then when she goes back and she tells Phoebe, she like has her voice, and she knows who she is, and she even if inspires Phoebe, like Phoebe sort of feels like she has like more of an understanding of like how to sort of find your voice and everything. So yeah, that was how I interpreted speech and voice in Their Eyes Were Watching God. Thank you.